Hi there. Today let us talk about two major aspects of growth. You know, one aids growth and one stops you from growing. The two aspects of growth that I want to talk about today are one, faith, and two, fear. Now, fear holds us hostage, to our comfort zones. You're comfortable in a spot. You know, on the other side, faith frees us to move, you know, even when the outcome is unclear. So, in this episode, let us explore how to start acting from a place of belief, not avoidance, and how every transformation indeed requires a risk taken in faith. Every transformation. Because nothing is guaranteed. Even when you're making moves and you have the best intentions, like I've said before, do not focus on the outcome. Focus on your intentions quite clearly, but there's nothing guaranteed at the end of that endeavor. There's nothing to say, for instance, now that when you start a YouTube channel, it's going to blow up to give you 1 million or 2 million subscribers. But there's one thing that's going to happen at the end of you launching that channel, or you making that effort, or you taking that step, that bold step. You're not going to be the same. You would have learned a lot, maybe how to do it or how not to do it. You certainly will not be the same person that started that, before you started, or the person that never took any kind of action. So it's always best not to give in to fear, but to hold on to faith and just take that next bold step. Most people don't live, they don't live life. They don't live the life they want. That's the truth of it. A lot of people don't live the life they want. Let's forget about keeping up with appearances and all of that. Everything that you see, not everything is real. In fact, our reality is basically a product of a lot of things that people have thought about in the past that have now manifested at the same time. These are not things that it's not real time per se. These are things that were taught, conceptualized, and then eventually came to fruition. So before you see what you see right now is effect. There's in the law of cause and effect, we have the cause and we have the effect. Everything that you're seeing is effect, is effect, is effect. The cause is in the spiritual realm. But that's a topic for another day. Because things are conceptualized in the spirit before they become manifest, right? So basically we can say everything is effect, and not everything is, everything is a consequence of something. So we are reacting to consequences, we are reacting to effects, and that doesn't really sound wise, but I mean that's the life, that's the world we live in today. But without going too deep into cause and effect, it's a topic for another day. Let's focus on why people don't do the things that they're supposed to do, and basically it's because of fear. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of starting too late, fear of what will people say. Let me tell you something about me. Now, Profit Magix, that idea has been a long time coming. Now, it was conceptualized in 2008 during when I was working in a certain it was first, the first name was Service Magix, because it was supposed to be something, giving quality service, customer service and all that, because I was in the customer service field and all that. So the idea was, Service Magix, right? So everything was based on customer service, basically, but as time went on, I expanded it to Profit Magix, so it's not just customer service now. Magic in all areas of life and not just a particular aspect, So that was how Profit Magix was born, So, but it was born way back in 2008, and I registered the business in. I didn't register the business until 2019 because number one, I was in. There were so many things: fear of launching and what will people say? Will people laugh at me? Does it even make any sense? And all of that, Instead of me to just go ahead with the idea, and who knows where it will be today? That's 2008, and this is 2025. I started making real moves on Profit Magix in 2019 when I registered the business in Nigeria. But then I did it for a while. I started online. I started, an online push for a while, and I stopped again, and then I focused on survival. So here we are again, 2025. A rebirth of Profit Magix. Now, by the time you see this video in sometime in the future, I am certain that Profit Magix will be on a whole new level, much higher level than it is today. But if I'd moved with faith a long time ago, I would have started what I just started not too long ago, a long time ago. There was a lot of fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of starting late, fear of what people say. But here's the problem. When fear makes your choices, you stay safe. Yeah. Nobody says anything about you. You look just the way everybody has been saying. Yeah, he's an okay guy, it's quiet, not, doesn't raise to, he's okay. He's an okay guy. But then you stay stuck. That's what fear does to you. You go nowhere. Like I didn't go anywhere for many years. But faith is not just a religious idea. It's a mindset. I had, bits and pieces of faith, but I wasn't moving for a long time, for a very long time in my life with faith. Faith is moving without a guarantee. There's no guarantee of success. But with a deep conviction that something greater is in the offing, something greater is ahead. You have that conviction. That word conviction is very, very powerful. You must move with that conviction. That's faith. That it is going to be well. Everything is going to be all right. It's the conviction that is making me that made me start my YouTube channel. I know, because the way I feel now is not the way I used to feel back then. It's called an identity shift, which is the basis of this entire channel. That is the basis of growth. An identity shift. I'm going to say it all the time. You need to have a different idea, or you need to have a different knowledge of who you are. You need to be a different person from who you used to be. For you to have faith, you know that things are going to be all right. Belief is even a weaker word. You know that things are going to be all right. You know that at the end of the tunnel, the path may be a little bit twisted, but at the end of the tunnel, there is light. So your way may be, like this, go this way, go this way, go this way. But, no matter how it goes, it might not, it's most usually not going to be a straight path. You might start this way and then you decide that, you need to retrace your steps and then go this way. Oh, then as you move ahead, you need to make a turn on the left, and then you need to turn on the right, and then you go. It's never a clear and straight path. But you are moving with conviction. You are moving with confidence that at the end of it all, it's going to favor you. That's what faith does to you. When you act in faith, you stop asking a question like, what if I fail? So you keep going. But don't ask yourself, what if you fail? Ask yourself, what if it works? Then what? Plan for when it works. And if it fails, you keep going. Faith doesn't promise, easy. It promises evolution. You evolve. That's what faith does to you. That's what it promises you. So you have to keep going. Now, let me give you, like I normally like to do, let me give you a story about a real life story. Today, and I try to use global icons, people that are known globally, just in case, I'm from Nigeria, so I don't want to base my examples on, Nigerian stories and all of that, So in case you're from the United States and you come across this video, you're from Pakistan and you come across this video, you're from the UK, you come across this video, you're from, Cambodia, you come across this video. I'm talking universal principles, and it's for a universal audience. So let's talk about Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry risked all to follow his vision. I know these days he's in the news for something not too, the news is not too flattering, but that's none of my concern, because it's an allegation has been made against him, but he will have his day in court and we'll see how it goes. But his story is phenomenal, nonetheless. One of those stories that inspire people all around the world. Now, Tyler Perry, as you may know, is a filmmaker, is a playwright, and a billionaire, media mogul. But before all of that, he was broke as hell. He was nearly broken. In the early 90s, Tyler saved as much as $12,000 doing odd jobs, to put on his first stage play. He wrote it, he produced it, and he directed it, believing that it would change his life. Now, what was the result of all that hustle? Only 30 people showed up. And many of them were his family. So what happened to Steve after that? He was crushed. He would be crushed after raising all that money, doing odd jobs, all that sweat. Do you know how hard it is to do odd jobs? Look, I know. Look, I've done so many things. And I'll tell you about some of them someday. I've worked, look, even as a graduate, as an educated person, when things weren't going right for me, there was one particular day, I was still living with my parents. I'll get back to Tyler Perry in a bit. I was still living with my parents, and I was broke. I was just flat broke. I didn't have a job. And I was frustrated, and I needed money to to load my phone with some airtime and just to make calls and ask people for help. I couldn't even make calls because I had zero credit, and I just got tired. I just left the house and just started walking. I dressed up and I started walking. And I walked. I don't know how many miles, for people that know Lagos very, very well. I walked from, okay, so I didn't walk at first. I think the story is coming back to me. I didn't walk at first. I think I had a couple of bucks, a couple of nairas. And then I took a bus from Ikotun, where my parents lived and still live. And I took a bus to Isolo. That was where my money could take me to. I didn't know where I was going. I had no destination. I just wanted to leave the house. There were voices in my head. I was lying down on the bed. I had nowhere to go to. I had no family of my own. I had nothing. I just had these parents that I've known all the while, and they probably were tired of me as well because, hey, dude, you're a grown man. What are you doing lying on your back? Asking dad for money, asking mom for money all the time to do anything. I was like, I need to do something about my life. And how I got to be in that situation is another story I will tell you another time, not today. All right, so I just walked to a construction site. I was dressed in t-shirts, jeans and sneakers like a regular guy would. And I walked into a construction site and I told them that I needed a job. They said they had no jobs yet, that I should go get my CV and probably, they'll give it to the manager of the site and all of that. And then I'm like, no, I'm not talking about that kind of job. I want to do what you guys are doing: carrying sand, mixing cement, carrying blocks and all of that, because I know you get paid at the end of the day. As I am like this, I don't have a dime in my pocket. And so they called the manager of the site, and he came, he looked at me. He looked at me from head to toe. And he was like, you want to work here? Please, it's not a job for you. You can't do this job. If it's not something you've been doing before, you're not used to it, so you might not be able to do it. So you need to go, maybe get me your CV, and then I'll give it to the owner of the place when he comes. Maybe he can get you something. I said, I will do that. I will give you my CV. But I can't wait for, that CV given to you to mature, and then maybe the result of the CV, maybe someone getting me a job. I'm not waiting for that. Yes, I'll give it to you. I'm still hoping for something. But today I want to work like these guys are working. I want to work. I want to carry blocks. I want to carry sand. Because I need the money. I asked him how much they paid. He said, yeah, they paid them 1,500 naira. I mean, back then, it was many years ago. It was a lot of money for me because I just needed maybe like 100 or 200 naira to put on my phone, and then the rest I could hold and do so many other things, till the next. So it was like, wow. I was like, wow, I could even do this for a week. Just come here for a week and, just gather some money. So I actually, they gave me the job. I undressed and I joined them. And I was lifting blocks and, carrying what we call pong pong, carrying sand on my head and going up, down, and all of that. And those guys were looking at me, the guys that were there on a regular basis, they were looking at me, They thought maybe I would break down. I didn't break down. I worked hard. Although the next day, when I woke up in bed, I was grateful I woke up. But the amount of pains all over my body, it's like you go to the gym for the very first time and you're working out and you're lifting heavy weights. You're going to have muscle tears, and you're going to have tears. And so all over my body was aching. I couldn't move anything. I couldn't move my arms. I couldn't move my legs. But my eyes were moving like those cartoons, my eyes were moving, I'm like, thank you, Lord, I'm awake, but I don't think I ever want to do that again, but that's how hard odd jobs, menial jobs can be. And then earlier in my days in the UK, I have done a lot of factory jobs and all of that, I still do some jobs here and there and all of that are actually quite demanding, So I understand how it can be for you to raise so much money from doing odd jobs, and then you put the money together and then you do a show and it fails. I mean, you can't even, the money that you put together to do the show, you didn't even make that money back. So Tyler Perry was crushed. But you know what? Instead of quitting, he slept in his car and he tried again and again and again. It took him 6 solid years of reworking, repromoting, and failing before he finally sold out a theater. That foundation became, that play became the foundation of his entire empire. He didn't keep going because he had proof. No, he had no proof that he was going to. I mean, what if he had kept going and nothing happened and he kept failing and failing? How many times would he fail before he finally succeeded? But he kept going because he had faith. And so that's the concept of faith that you need to have today to get you out of the rut, to get you out of that stuck situation, you being on the same spot and your life not moving in the direction that you want. And you have this idea of what you should do, but you are letting fear hold you down. Fear, they say, is false expectations appearing real or something like that. I mean, it is not a real acronym anyway. People are just trying to put an acronym to it. But fear is one of the worst things that can happen to you. So let me give you some practical advice. Ask yourself, am I making this decision out of fear or belief? Ask yourself, pause, before you make those big moves, pause and ask, what's driving you? Take micro leaps. That's the second point. Second practical advice. Take micro leaps. Faith isn't about quitting your job overnight. No, that's not what I'm telling you to do here. It means it might mean starting a side hustle, might mean publishing that first blog post, or sending that pitch, to that organization that you've always wanted to, you've always had an idea that you could, pitch a business idea to. The third practical thing is that detach yourself from applause. Faith doesn't need validation from nobody. It just needs action. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to rewire your brain to be this particular sort of person. So you don't need proof of everything is going to go all right before you set out. Do it afraid even. But do it anyway. Take action. Those steps are more important than the outcome. Outcomes mean nothing at the end of the day. But it is who you're becoming in the process that is the most important thing. And the final step for today, visualize forward and not backward. Think about the future, not about the past. Imagine what could go right and let the picture of what could go right pull you. Just imagine yourself receiving the applause at the end of the day. How would you feel? How would that make you feel? Imagine your friends, your family, everybody hugging you. Oh my God, you're such a good success. Oh my God, I love your content. Oh my God, I love your movie. Oh my God, I love your company. Oh my God, I love your book. Oh my God, I love whatever it is that your goals are. Visualize it forward and let that good feeling just wrap you up and let it motivate you to action. So those are the practical steps that I want you to note for this episode. And then the Profit Magix challenge for this particular episode is this. Think of something. Now write one thing that you've been delaying out of fear. Then ask, if I believed this will work, would I do it today? If I believe this will work, would I do it today? Ask yourself that question. Now go and do that one thing. Do you want to hear it again? Write down one thing you've been delaying out of fear. Then ask, if I believe that this will work, what would I do today? What would I do today? No, I said initially, what would I do today? If I believe this will work, what would I do today? Yeah, that's what it is. So you believe it will work. So you know it will work, right? You believe and you know it will work. So since it will work, what are you going to do about it today? Just one thing. Now go and do that one thing. Right? You don't need certainty. You don't need courage. Because your future isn't built by what you fear. It's built by what you move towards in faith. That's the video there. And if this spoke to you, drop a comment, share, like, and I'll see you in the next video.